Hello.
How are
Welcome
you?
back to this Coffeehouse Chat. I'm so glad to do it again.
I'm excited to be here and I like our new environment. This is fun.
Yes. Where are we right now?
We are in the Startup Garage, which is our entrepreneurship space for all of our Newhouse students. And you can take classes in here. You can get advice from entrepreneurs themselves who have already found their way out in the world. And it's also just a great place to hang out and intersect with different creators and students.
Yeah, it's fabulous. I love it in here. Well, if you couldn't tell, we're doing another Coffeehouse Chat with Dean Lodato, our amazing leader. I'm Sunny, and let's cheers to that.
Yeah,
I,
cheers.
I'm I'm glad
Absolutely.
to be back together.
We've got our new mugs.
Yeah. I'd love to know from your perspective, from the leadership perspective, what the typical Newhouse student looks like.
Well, I don't think, honestly, Sunny, that there is a typical Newhouse student. What I love about Newhouse is that we bring students from all different backgrounds and experiences. I guess the typical thread is they are highly motivated, very smart, and they have a vision that communications will be the right path for them. Some students come in knowing exactly what they want to do, and that's great for them, but a lot don't. And they use their experience here at Newhouse to help chart their course. And to me, that's one of the exciting things about college, no matter where you go. But
Right.
there is a level of curiosity and I think determination. Students have worked really hard to get here, and we want to reward that effort with an exciting experience.
With the media industry changing so much, do you see students kind of embrace that change and change with it? Like, is there a big difference from a freshman to a senior?
I don't know that there's a huge difference between freshman and senior. I think students definitely understand that the communications landscape is changing rapidly, and they know that they want to find their home in this space, but exactly what that looks like could be very different. First, certainly between your freshman year and your senior year, right? That can change, and we see that all the time. And what I tell parents, and probably told yours, was that one of the most important things about Newhouse is adaptability becomes part of your DNA. You know that when you graduate in a year and a half from now, that the world you
Don't bring it up.
yeah, it's facts. So that's the way it is. But the world that you graduate into will be one thing in 2027, but it will be very different 5 or 10 years from that now. And so I want to make sure that you feel that you have a level of confidence that no matter what comes your way, that you can rely on that Newhouse mindset and that critical thinking and all those things that you've learned here to find your path, even as things are very different in 10 or 20 years.
100%. And that makes me very proud to be a Newhouse student, to know we're adapting with all the changes. And can you tell me a little bit more about the Center for the Creator Economy? I know you were there at the launch event, which I was gladly hosting. And it's been awesome seeing that we're really adapting to that change as well.
Yes, I think that's an important leadership space for Syracuse University and the Newhouse School. And the way I describe it is if you're a communication student, let's take you, you say, wow, I want to chart my own course when I graduate in the creator space. I've received all of this wonderful communications and creativity areas of my education, but what about the business side, right? What do I need to know to be able to chart my own course as it relates to establishing a business or something like that? Through this new Center for the Creator Economy, you'll have access to a much broader range of courses that have been sort of brought together for you so you can decide what you want to take to plug those gaps in your own knowledge. And it's also a great way for students across Syracuse to get a taste of Newhouse and all of the creative courses that we offer, because this is a sector of our economy that's being impacted by hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. And we want all of our students to understand where those opportunities are in this changing landscape. So it's off to a fast start. We're the first in the country. We're excited about that. And frankly, I think it also exemplifies how we're listening to our students and what all of you are saying to us that a university needs to provide. And hopefully we're answering that call.
When are you most proud of Newhouse?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm most proud of our students. I think watching what they accomplish once they graduate and where they go in the world is what motivates me to do the best I can to help them succeed. And I'm really proud of what our faculty and staff accomplish as well. A dean's job ultimately is about breaking down barriers so others can succeed, right? So for students, that's ensuring that they have access to the courses they need and the support they need to launch their careers and even be engaged after you graduate, and how we can be supportive of you as an alum. And for faculty and staff, it's sort of figuring out the back end of what do we need to do to help you be most successful in designing your course or doing interesting research or building a new office or a center. So if I'm doing my job well, that means I'm paving the way so others can succeed that benefits the whole school. So I'm proud every day to be dean of the Newhouse School. There are frustrating days, but at the end of the day, it's the most rewarding job I've ever had. So I'm really proud of it.
Well, you heard it here. We're making him proud, guys.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
And so the Newhouse Network, we hear about it a lot, and
Mhm.
I've definitely had a great experience with alumni. I feel like this family really does run forever.
Mhm.
Once you say you are a Newhouse student, it's with you forever. And I've met alumni from, recent years to years prior that have extended graciously all these opportunities and advice and insight. What does that Newhouse network look like? Can you explain it a little bit more for
Well, it's
people?
thousands and thousands of alums who ultimately want to help students succeed, right?
Mhm.
So whether that's opening doors to internship opportunities, mentoring, job advice once you graduate, it is a really unique group. And I'll be honest, I've been around some wonderful schools in my career, but I've never seen anything quite like this alumni network. I will tell you, part of my job is to travel and get out there and raise money and share the good work that we're doing and introduce the Newhouse School to a wider community. And anytime I run into an alum, they come back and say, how can I help? How can I get involved? I loved my experience. I want to do more. So we've actually added a new position in our alumni team, and we have a new director of parent and alumni engagement. His name's Jonah Reardon, and his whole job is to basically collect this group even more so than we already have, and use that combined force for good for Newhouse. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited to be able to engage with these alums, and they continue to really amaze me in their ways, all the ways that they want to give support. So it's a
Yeah.
special group. It really is.
Definitely. That was one of my biggest, I think, sways when looking at
Hmm.
Newhouse, seeing that really is a family. And this past summer, working my first internship, I noticed that very quickly at NBC there were
Hmm.
so many Newhouse alum, and
Yep.
I had a great transition because everyone was so welcoming. It really truly is a family. So once you're here, you're stuck with
Yes,
it.
and you'll be able to take advantage of that when you graduate too, right?
Yes.
You already have a network to fall back on for advice and connections to jobs and all
Yeah.
those sorts of
And a
things.
lot of them become great mentors and friends as well.
Hmm.
It's great sounding board to have to talk to someone in the industry right now. So it's been awesome. But I'm glad to hear that you have the same experience with seeing, everyone is really willing to help.
It's special.
Definitely. And so what can Newhouse students do to use Newhouse to its full potential?
Well, my advice would be break out of your comfort zone. And you heard it from before you got here. You've got to get involved, right? We tell everybody that, and it's true. But I think even once you've, in essence, found your lane, you've found your people, and you've got your plan of attack, that's all great. But sometimes you got to look a little left or look a little right. So let's say the Center for the Creator Economy or this space, the Startup Garage, right? As a journalism major, are you going to drift into this space? Probably not. It's probably going to have to be intentional, but there are things you can learn in these other areas of the Newhouse School that may be a little bit off the beaten track. So finding that little bit of extra time in a busy schedule to meet some different professors or check out different opportunities, hear from different speakers, I think is really, really valuable because it just gives you that broader sense of what Newhouse is all about and what could open doors for you in the future.
Definitely. I think it's very beneficial to meet with professors outside your major, outside, your comfort zone as
Hmm.
well, because broadening that experience is really important. As I've been able to see, it's all connected in a way.
Hmm.
So even with other students, like keeping those connections is also awesome. Learning from each other.
That's great. Do you have an example?
I do actually. This past year, I'm a broadcasting major, and this past year, I noticed that I really love social media stuff as well and
Hmm.
using those media skills and social media outlets. So I actually met with the head of PR,
Oh,
and
great.
I got to, learn a little bit more about PR and how that connects to, media as a whole. And now this summer, instead of more of a television focused internship, I'm doing a digital marketing internship to try and
Awesome.
try both. So,
That's a really
yeah,
good example.
exactly,
That's a terrific
exactly.
example.
So now, from TV to PR, I think it's honestly, I was a bit nervous too because
Hmm.
I'm not a PR major, I'm not a marketing major, but Newhouse has done such a great job of making sure that I'm, you know, kind of educated in all sorts of communication. Where can we find you on campus?
You can find me all over the place, but I try hard. I have to be purposeful about it to get out of my office. I like to go to games at the Dome. That is definitely something I try to do. We have the Newhouse School. We try to get to basketball games, men's and women's. There's football. I actually love baseball and softball. So when the weather gets nicer, you'll probably find me at some women's softball games, which is a lot of fun. And soccer. I love that we have so many student athletes at Newhouse, and that's a group we don't talk about a lot, but there's some
Let's
amazing,
talk about it.
well, there's some amazing dozens of fantastic young men and women who are playing sports for Syracuse.
Mhm.
And don't take this the wrong way, but I don't think there's a more focused student at Newhouse than a student athlete because their schedules are so tight that they just have to be very careful about every minute that they spend.
Yeah.
And I've had many of them in my own class, Com
Mhm.
107, and I've always been impressed about how they've been able to manage everything that they're doing, especially as a first year student. That's not easy. So I like to get out and support them. I haven't been able to make it to a women's rowing competition yet, but we have several women rowers in our building. We have soccer
Wow.
players, tennis players, lacrosse, it goes and basketball and football. So it goes on and on. So that's you'll find me at athletic events. Where else? And on campus shine, I walk over there if it's not. Uh, if I have enough time to run over and get some food there, I'm starting to hang out more in food.com. I've begun these open hours,
It's the
so
best place.
students feel that they can just come up and chat with me in a very relaxed setting. Some students are confident enough to march in my office, which I always welcome, and I appreciate students who come by. So come on by. But if that feels a little bit too much, you can just flag me down if you see me walking the halls or sitting in
Good to
food.com.
know. Good
Yeah,
to know.
absolutely.
Food.com is a popular place.
Yes.
We love it here as Newhouse students. I think it's a very social spot
Hmm.
in Newhouse. So glad to know that Dean Lodato will be joining the Food.com
Yes,
hangouts.
that's the plan.
And you mentioned the student athletes. I agree. I have so many of them in my classes. And they really are such impressive people because they do like have these insane schedules and they're doing the same amount of things in Newhouse as anyone else would. So
Hmm.
they're really balancing it well with travel as well. It's quite
Right.
impressive. You travel a lot as well.
I do, and sometimes more than I would like. And we do that for a lot of reasons. Part of my job is fundraising. I mean, we are a private institution, and that's part of the dean's job in 2026. So a lot of times it's in a good way in that I get to interact with our amazing alums or foundations that support us regularly. That's where I was last week at this amazing night media forum in Miami, and I was got to learn because they bring all sorts of amazing speakers in. But I also got to connect with foundations that support Newhouse and individual donors. So
That's
it was a
awesome.
chance to go to West Palm
I
and
was just gonna
Boca
say,
Raton, and
do you know I'm from
I
Miami?
do know that.
And
Yes,
you actually were at my high
I
school.
got to visit your high school. I was
Can you believe
specially
that?
invited. I know. I was.
I saw on your personal
Hmm.
Instagram because Dean Lodato also shares content on his Instagram. And I was like, this place looks very familiar. It was a very full circle, weird crossover for me.
Well,
See,
your school is amazing. I mean, you have the number is more than 50 alums of your high school have come to Syracuse University.
wow, I
That's a
didn't know
lot.
that.
Yeah.
So, did you get to speak to any students there? Were you
Hmm.
looking for students like me?
Yes, we're looking for the next generation of Sunnies coming out of there. So it's but there were I sat down with about a dozen students who were doing specifically the news
Yeah.
program and operation there after class, and it was great to hear from them. I used to do a lot of recruiting earlier in my career. And so it's fun to get back in that high
Yeah,
school environment. don't get to do that very
that's
often anymore. So it
awesome.
was terrific.
Well, I'm glad to hear my high school got a visit.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Newhouse students are very successful in so many ways. How are students post grad? What does the success look like there?
I've, Newhouse students have a really strong track record of getting that first job after they graduate in a timely manner.
Good to
So,
know.
yes, right. So, we have a career development center that is focused specifically on Newhouse students and Newhouse careers. They do a fantastic job, but we also have to do other things to make sure that we're staying in touch with those alums and these companies that we build relationships with so they keep coming back to Newhouse for Newhouse students because this is a great example. This is a tough year, right? The economy is a little bit shaky right now in terms of job growth. So we're working overtime behind the scenes to make sure those students who graduate in a few months coming up in May have the same opportunities that students did 2 or 3 years ago. So it's important to us that we support our students when they graduate. And we're really excited to see sort of where they end up. That's part of the fun. I love being on LinkedIn and
Oh, I
seeing,
love
right, and you
LinkedIn.
see all the posts from people. I'm excited to share, my new opportunity, my new career, my
Yeah,
new internship, and that's
it's
always fun for me to
season.
hit the like button on all of those.
Yes, connect with Dean Lodato
Yes,
and connect with me too. I love
yes.
LinkedIn.
Eh,
It's my favorite social media
yeah,
actually.
mine too. You have one more year ahead.
I do.
So what's your goal for senior year?
Oh, loaded question.
Sorry.
I don't know. For senior year, I think I want to maintain what I'm involved in and, stay well rounded in all sorts of things as well because, like we said, the media industry is changing so much that it's nice to stay well rounded.
Hmm.
Post grad, not exactly sure,
Hmm.
but I'm keeping all doors open.
Well, you're getting lots of different kinds of experiences, right? And
Exactly.
I think a year from now, you'll probably be in a better place to decide what's
Yeah,
next.
hopefully. Hopefully we'll be a little clearer on that. But right now, I'm just going with the flow and seeing where my passion takes me.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today, Dean Lodato. I'm looking forward to many more coffee chats in the future, but this one was amazing. So, cheers to that.
Cheers. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate
Thank
your time.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers.